Chronicle Forge Labs presents Spider-Man: Born in the Dark. Welcome back. It's time to dive into the most famous chapter of all. Let's go. In the city of New York, Peter Parker wasn't born a hero. He wasn't rich. He wasn't strong. He was just a boy trying to fit into a world that never seemed to notice him. It started in a small apartment in Queens. Aunt May made breakfast, humming softly, while Uncle Ben read the newspaper. Upside down, because he lost his glasses again. Peter walked in with his backpack half open, one strap broken, held together by duct tape. Peter asks, "Aunt May? Uncle Ben? I need to ask something." Ben says, "If it's about you turning the Wi-Fi back on, no." Peter says, "No! It's for school. A field trip." He handed them a crumpled permission slip. May tells, "Nova Labs? Isn't that expensive?" Peter says, "Yeah, there's a fee, $45. May and Ben shared a look. They didn't have extra money. Bills were already stacked on the fridge. Peter lowered his voice. Peter says, "It's okay. I knew you'd say no." He turned to leave, shoulders low. Ben stopped him. Ben says, "Peter, come here." Ben reached into his pocket, pulled out 2 wrinkled $20 bills and 1 $5 note. Ben tells, "It's not much, but you deserve at least one good day." Peter's eyes lit up. Peter says, "Thank you. Thank you so much." May hugged him tight. May says, "Just come home safe, okay?" Peter smiled. He wouldn't know until much later how important those words really were. Nova Labs looked nothing like school. It was clean, silent, almost too perfect. Peter walked behind the group, shy, unnoticed. But his eyes caught everything, especially the chamber suspended in the center of the lab. A glass pod with a single red and black spider inside. Unlike anything on Earth. The scientist, Dr. Maddox, explained. This organism was designed to rewrite human DNA. Designed? As in, man-made? Exactly. The pod cracked. A single spider fell, right onto Peter's hand. A sting. A flash. A scream. Everything went black. He noticed the strange mark on his hand again. Peter assumed it was just a small injury from the lab and ignored it. When he opened the table drawer, he saw a $5 bill. His stomach growled. He decided to grab a little snack. He changed into black pants and a plain white t-shirt, then headed downstairs. "Peter, where are you going at this hour?" Just to get a quick snack." He stepped outside, walked to the nearby food truck, bought a small bag of chips and a mini Coke, and sat on a bench to eat. While eating, he noticed 5 men beating and robbing an old man near the alley. Peter stood up, heart pounding, and shouted, "Leave him alone, or I'll call the cops!" One of the men turned, angry. "Huh? Call them. Go on. Call." He pulled out a knife and charged at Peter. Instinct took over. Peter swung his fist. Not hard, not with intention, but the man flew backward like he'd been launched by a cannon, crashing into a parked car. The remaining 4 rushed at him. Peter panicked, fought back, and each one fell just as violently. They didn't survive the impact. The old man looked at him with tears in his eyes. Thank you, kid. You saved my life. I've been saving this money for my wife's treatment. You're a hero, son. A real superhero." Peter didn't know what to say. He just walked home quietly. Inside, he went to the bathroom and closed the door. Or tried to. His hand pushed too hard, and the door cracked off its hinge. He stared at his reflection, terrified. What's happening to me? Then he remembered. The spider. The bite. The lab. He ran back to the lab. The place was chaos. Alarms, shouting, panic. Peter grabbed a trembling employee. "What happened?" "One of our experimental spiders is missing. If it bites anyone, we have no idea what could happen to them." Peter's heart nearly stopped. He walked out, stunned, and wandered into a quiet park. He sat on the ground, trying to breathe, trying to think. He tossed a pebble, frustrated, then suddenly caught a ball flying toward him with impossible speed, with one hand, without even looking. His palm felt sticky. He touched a wall beside him, and before he understood what he was doing, he climbed straight up it, like gravity didn't exist. Peter froze at the top. There was no denying it anymore. He didn't just get bitten by a spider. He inherited its power, its speed, its strength, its instincts. Peter Parker was becoming something new, something he wasn't ready for, something the world wasn't ready for either. Peter woke up 12 hours later in his room, sweating, shaking, seeing everything differently. He was stronger, faster. He could hear footsteps 2 floors away and smell Aunt May's burnt toast from the kitchen. But what terrified him most was climbing the wall without meaning to. He panicked, then laughed, then panicked again. With trembling hands, Peter opened his notebook and wrote 3 words. Greater than I need a suit. He wasn't rich, wasn't a genius inventor, so he made something real, something raw. Dark navy joggers, a deep red bomber jacket, a blue sleeve t-shirt underneath, cheap gloves. And the lenses? He cut them out of his old glasses. A homemade Spider-Man. A boy wrapped in whatever he could find. But when he looked in the mirror, for the first time, he felt like he mattered. Peter couldn't sleep that night. Peter couldn't stop thinking about his new powers. And then it hit him. If I'm like a spider, I need webs. He grabbed every science book he had, studied all night, and sketched a small wrist device. After days of testing, burning, breaking, and fixing, he finally built them. 2 black homemade web shooters loaded with a sticky web fluid he created himself. He strapped them on and whispered, "Okay, let's see what I can really do."
Peter didn't go looking for danger. Danger found him. A woman screamed in an alley. A mugger held a knife. Peter froze, then jumped. Clumsy punches, awkward kicks, webs everywhere. But he saved her. Woman says, "Who are you?" Peter, Spider-Man, I think." She smiled, and Peter Parker felt alive for the first time in his life. In a lab filled with machinery, hum, heartbeat. But while Peter celebrated, Dr. Maddox was not dead, not injured, not human anymore. His skin cracked like stone, his veins glowed red. The same experiment that created the spider had created him. He whispered, "Maddox says, the boy carries my power, my evolution. He belongs to me now." He broke the lab restraints with one snap of his hand. The alarm screamed, but he was already gone. Slow heartbeat, wind, footsteps behind Peter. Peter stood on a rooftop watching the city lights, hopeful, proud, alive. Then his spider sense exploded. A cold, violent shock. He turned. A shadow stood behind him, tall, broken, glowing red. Maddox says, "Hello, Peter." To be continued. Spider-Man, Born in the Dark, Part 2. The Monster of Nova Labs. And this is only the beginning. Peter has his powers. He has his suit. He has his web shooters. But in Part 2, he'll face something he never expected. A new enemy, a new danger, and a secret that could change his entire life. Thanks for watching. If you want Part 2, hit that subscribe button to Chronicle Forge Labs, where stories are forged, one legend at a time.